Okay, so before I go into the um, deck, and I think we're going to be having well, okay. So there are a few decks we could do today. PA Unchained, Invoked, Dogma, or PK Fire. I think we'll do probably PK Fire just because I did both of these pretty recently. Um, so yeah. But anyways, I want to talk about the state of the channel and myself for a second. So I don't think we're going to do a live stream tomorrow. Um, I'm probably not going to be making YouTube videos for um, another, at least another week. It could be longer, just because my grades are not doing well right now, and I need to bring them up. Um, but once I've handled that, then yes, the channel will be um, it will be the same as usual. Hopefully, Fridays videos and Saturdays live streams, especially of Striker Thunder. Um, I've actually just worked out a combo with this, kind of. Um, so I was really excited to show you guys this, but we're not doing too well. So yeah, but into the deck profile. Um, so we're going to do PK Fire today. So first of all, 3 Danger Bigfoot, 3 Thunderbird, 1 Nessie, 1 Tsukinoko, and 1 Jackalope. So you mainly, one of the main purposes of the deck, and it isn't really too consistent, is to go, um, is to get a 2 level 8 monsters, being Bigfoot and Thunderbird, out on the field to make Dingirsu, and then making Rusty Bardiche and setting rank up Magic Launch so that then you can go into Calamities. Um, so one of the main combos. If this were Orcust PK, then you could make this with one. You could make Dingirsu with 1 material, send a card your opponent controls to the graveyard, and then if you use like IP, brought it back, then you could make Calamities that much quicker. But because this is PK Fire, we're not really using Orcust in this deck. So it isn't like too consistent because you're only playing like 8 copies of it. So you're playing 6, 1 Nessie, and 1 Jackalope. Yeah, because Jackalope allows you to special summon either of these 2 from your deck. Nessie allows to add either of these 2 from your hand, and then these 2 just special summon themselves. But yeah, that's the main thing you want to do with the deck. However, there you can make other things like Jesus. It's a really ridiculous card. And then Beatrice is another really ridiculous card. Um, but yeah, so 2 Seer, 1 Lydic, 2 Farfa, 2 Graph, um, as well as lastly 2 Skarn. So Barbar and then 1. I don't know if I said this, but 1 Barbar. Barbar is just for grind games and games that you're about to go into time, because you can banish Burning Best from your graveyard to deal damage to your opponent. Seer allows you to special Burning Best from your graveyard, so you can special back Dante, and then make like a link play or something like that. A cool thing with Seer is that even if it destroys itself and you have a Dante in your graveyard, you can special back Dante and it won't self-destruct because it doesn't have that requirement of, or um, thing of self-destructing when you have another non-Burning Best card on the field. Libic, this card allows you to special level 3 Dark Fiend from your hand. 2 Farva, this is really like one of the integral parts of the strategy, because you can banish your own cards and you can banish your opponent's cards. So one thing that you could do is that you can activate Farfa. So like if you had Beatrice on your field, you could activate Beatrice, activate its effect, discard one, to send Farfa from your deck to the graveyard, banishing Dingirsu, and then the Dingirsu would come back on during the end phase, and then you could activate one of its effects, but you could also, it also has no materials at this point, so if you went into Bardiche, you could set launch and go into Calamities. So yeah, um, so yeah, Levick Farfa. Graph allows you to special a BA from your deck, and then Skarm searches the BA monsters. After that would be the Phantom Knight cards. One, Stained Greaves. This card is good, but it's not great. You really don't want to play it more than like one, because like it allows you to special summon itself, and other PK monsters, but it's not like overwhelmingly powerful. And a cool thing that you can do with it, though, is that if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special Tearskill from your hand, and then you won't even have to normal Tearskill, which is really cool. So yeah. Two Ragged Gloves, because it basically just counts as like any PK monster, which is really cool. Two Ancient Cloak, so that you can add your PK cards from your deck to your hand. Yeah. Tearskill, discard one, send from your deck to the graveyard a PK card, so you can send even like Fogblade, which is really cool. Yeah, just a great card. Three Silent Boots, because if you control a PK card, you can special out from your hand. Other than that, we have two Tour Guide. It just specials a BA from your deck. And the reason that we play 2 and 2 is because neither of these are really better than the other. They're both like really amazing cards. Tour Guide does more, but Phantom Knights of Tearskill, it does okay. Phantom Knights of Tearskill does more, depending on your hand, but Tour Guide does more off of one card, which is why it's really cool. Sea Archiver and Sengan, because you can do full combo with these two. Yeah, into the extract. Megalogia AA Zeus. It wipes the board, basically. Calamities, your opponent can activate monster effects of the attribute you declare. So you can detach a material, declare an attribute. This turn all face-up monsters on the field become the attribute. Also, all face-up monsters your opponent controls with that attribute can activate their effects or attack. Dengirsu, level 8 sends cards to the graveyard, basically just for calamities. Beatrice, Burning Abyss card from your hand, and Dante. It allows you to send any BA from your deck to the graveyard. Also, you can special a Burning Abyss from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, and you can special like the Fusion or Synchro, but most of the time your opponent is already going to be like hashing that effect or something like that. But if by chance they do allow it, you can still bring out like Cherubini or Dante, which is really cool. Dark Rebellion, because it just allows you to go into it. Well, okay, you play this for two reasons. First of all, it gains like massive amounts of attack, and it's just really good. But second of all, it allows you to, once you, it can be like Breaksword. If it's destroyed, you can target two Phantom Knights monsters with the same level in your graveyard, special summon them, and increase their levels by 1. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except dark monsters. However, it just makes it easier to go into Dark Rebellion, basically. And another thing to know with this card, well, there are two things. You can detach its first effect is that you can detach a material from it, then Target a card you control and a card your opponent controls, destroy them. So it can target and destroy itself. Another thing to consider is that you don't actually have to use your PK monsters to special it. You can special it with your BA monsters, and then if you already had like PK monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon them back. Levier is pretty good. It's not good enough to be played at 2. You don't make it enough, but when you can make it, it is definitely really good. Dante mills 3 allows you to go into Beatrice. You only need 2 because you can just recycle them constantly. Topologic Zeraboros, you're going to do some banishing in the deck, and it just is a board wipe. Gains massive amount of attack. It's amazing. It's a really good card. A Borreload, it can, for Dragoon, it snaps to Dragoon, basically. Nightmare Unicorn and Phoenix, because they allowed you to spin and pop cards. Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche, because you can set to Fogblade, or you could also set a rank of Magic Launch and a Fogblade. And Leslie Cherubini, because it's part of the combo, and it's also just a ridiculous card in general. But yeah, let's start the extra deck. So, for your main combo with Tour Guide, you go Tour Guide, Special Sangan, link both into Cherubini. Sangan effect, you're going to, you could add any of your danger monsters. You could also add, like, you could potentially also add, like, a Phantom Knight card. It really just depends on your hand, but mostly you're going to want to add a danger monster, particularly Tsukinoko, because even if it's discarded, you can special summon it to, you can just special summon it. But anyways, add this to your hand. Cherubini effect, Senshi Archiver. I bet most people will know where we're going after that. Tsukinoko effect, to discard one to special it from your hand, or if it is the one discarded, to special it from your graveyard to a zone. It has to be to a zone that Cherubini points to, because then the Archiver's effect will activate to special it itself from the graveyard, and then you can make Dante, and if you have a Burning Abyss monster in your graveyard, then you can go into Beatrice. That's the basic combo for the deck. You also add that one with Dingirsu and Calamities. So yeah, this is the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.